Hi everyone, and welcome to my video about how to create custom ASP.NET controls. So what are user controls? User controls are essentially a group of elements clumped together, grouped together, that create one element. And that one element is called a control. So what is this for? So it helps to reuse your code within your application. So you code it once, like let's say that you have a very specific way of how something looks. So in my case, how an order looks, right? How I want to present an order. I would only need to code this once and then reuse it everywhere else in my application. So I don't need to code any of the HTML stuff again. Just code it once, and then what I do is I feed it an order. I feed that control. I pass in an order to that control, and that control will automatically populate for me all the data that I need. And it's good for standardizing the look and feel of your website even further with your master pages. And one thing to keep note is that these user controls have to be registered within your ASPX page before it can be used. Now there's another way to do it, which is through the web config. You can register it through the web config, and then you can reuse it in all your ASPX pages without actually registering it in every single ASPX page. So I'll show you guys an example of this in a sec. And user controls can contain properties and methods, and the extension of it is an ASCX extension. So here is an example of one control that isn't registered on the ASPX page and one that is. The one that isn't is registered in the web config, which is in the next slide that I'll show you guys. So here you can see that the order, I have two controls here. So I created a folder called user controls, and I have two controls here. I have a order control.ascx, and I have a customer search control.ascx. Now, if I had expanded this, you would see that there's code behind to these that you can access. So all I did to bring these controls, so here are the controls, first of all, right here. And all I did to bring in the controls was I left clicked, I dragged, and I dropped them here. And then I did that for both of them. And then it automatically brought this in here for the order control.ascx. It automatically brought this register on here. And the reason it didn't do that for the customer search control is because I've registered the customer search control inside of the web config. So that is that. And here's the web config. You can see that I registered it inside of system.web, and then pages, and then controls, and then you can see here that I added this. Tag prefix, specify control, tag name, and then the same name as a file here, and then the location of it. And keep in mind that this right here is really the same as this. So here, tag prefix, tag name, and then the source. And here I have expanded the user control so you guys can see that it has these files. And this is what that user control looks like. This customer search control. This is what it looks like in the front end. Now here you can see that I have another control. I have a control for the orders, if you guys remember the orders control. And this is what it looks like. And you can see that it's all standardized the way that it looks. Each control here, each one of these things, contains an order number, so order and then the order number, the customer name and then the customer's name, the service date, and then services with a little indentation here, and then the total. And they all contain the same thing. Now, I guess I could have created these as user controls as well, but I didn't. For demonstration purposes, I only did these. But like this, I wouldn't have had to rewrite the HTML code. I would have just been able to write it once and then drag and drop that user control. So let's take a look into what these look like on the front end. So the order control, here you can see that we're in the order.ascx, looks like this. So like I said before, it contains an order number and then just a literal element here, a literal web control here. Actually, I think this is a normal control with ID that I later replace, customer name with a literal that I later replace, service date. I have a repeater inside my control, a service repeater to list all the services, and I have the total right here. And so let's take a look at what the backend code looks like. So here's the backend code. You can see that I have a public property. Like I said, controls can have methods and properties as well. So here you can see that on the page load, so whenever this control loads, it populates all these literals right here with the data that gets passed in from the order. So it's assumed that the user will pass in an order, and then once they pass in that order, it will use that data, that order data, to populate those fields. And here's a method for binding the repeater. So, you can have methods in here. And then here's my item data bound event. So in the actual page, so we went into the UI of this control and in the back end of this control. But how do I implement this control? How did I implement this control in my dashboard? So you can see here I'm on my dashboard page. So here's my dashboard page. You can see here that I have it in a repeater. I'm taking up 5 columns here. And then, same thing. I just drag and I dropped it over right here. And what this is going to do is it's going to repeat all of this for every order that I have. And so let's say that I wanted to implement this in another page in my order services or logout page, or if I had another page or whatever, I would just drag and drop that control over to that page, and then this dashboard page and that other page, the order would look the same. Like it would have the same look and feel. So that's the benefit of that. So yeah, drag and drop here. And here you can see for this repeater, the item data bound event, you can see that I'm getting the order from, I'm binding all of my orders into this repeater. And then whenever it binds the items, it executes this function. So I'm getting the order that is bound to this row or to this item. I'm getting the control, the order control element. So I'm getting this. And then here I'm assigning it OC. So OC.order equals this order. So OC.order is this control's order, which is really OC.order is this right here. And then I'm assigning it this order. So then when that is assigned, it then has an order and it goes through here and it does all these assignments. So that is it for how to create a user control and how to implement it and utilize it and whatnot. So if this helped, leave a comment. Let me know if it helped, or if you have any questions. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want, as I post content regularly. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.